My #1 tip for having a winning offer on a home in 2 minutes or less. You know, the market that we've been in for quite a number of months now is very much a seller's market, a very, very strong seller's market, to the point where there is buyer burnout, because so many buyers are competing for so few homes. And many of you, I know, are getting tired of being turned down house after house after house. And you could be very well qualified. You could have a conventional loan, I keep messing up. Can you close your door so you're not listening? Thank you. If I were a buyer right now, the #1 thing that I would do, and what I'm going to recommend to folks who are having a hard time getting the house of their dreams because they keep missing out offer after offer after offer. And it kills me to say this, but here it is. If I were buying a house right now, 100% I would use the listing agent as my agent as well. Now, why might this help? Well, let's assume all things being equal. Let's assume that you do have strong financing and that you are a well-qualified buyer. Okay, that's got to happen first. I'm not a miracle worker. My advice is not going to, make a house appear out of thin air for you. However, if you go to the listing agent, that listing agent, odds are, stands a chance of increasing their commission by also having the buyer represented in the transaction. So, by going to the listing agent, it sort of may incentivize them. It may make them more likely to make a deal or try to bridge the gap between the buyer and the seller. Now, this is very different from it being unethical, because it is unethical for an agent to work a deal in a way that makes it so that they are no longer servicing their listing in the way that it should be serviced. I could have worded that a lot better. Here's where it could get tricky. It is the job of the listing agent to make sure that they are appropriately representing their seller to the best of their ability and in a way so that the seller makes maximum profit. However, if the listing agent also has the buyer, then the listing agent may be more likely to try and get a deal together. Am I saying it's the most ethical thing for a listing agent to do all the time? No. Are there listing agents that will perhaps not be ethical in the process and maybe have a deal come together where the buyer, if represented by them, is put to the top of the pile? Yes. Will that perhaps help you get a house? Yes. And that's the advice I'm trying to give you, how to get a house. So if I was a buyer right now and not an agent, I would for sure be going to the listing agent myself. They stand to get a bigger commission and you stand to get a house. Get out of my frame.
You want to see my gerbil?
Yes.
This is Potato. Very awkward.
Does Potato need a realtor?
Yeah.
Excellent.
She has a wooden house.